Today I have with me one of the loveliest ladies that I've recently met, and I thought would be a great match to this show. The Italian ambassador's wife, Miss Cristiana Turchetti Baldocci. Thank you for accepting the invitation, Cristiana.
Thank you, Taiba, for inviting me.
You're welcome. We've met once before and had amazing conversation. It went on for hours and we did not feel the time fly by. And I knew so much about you back then, but can you explain to whoever is looking at us now, who is Cristiana in your own words?
Wow, what a difficult question. Well, I'm Italian, obviously. I'm from Rome. And I think that now thinking of talking about my life, I think I can say that that we are perfectly able to live in one life more lives. I can count already 3 or 4 different lives within one life. I come from a very traditional, very loud and very traditional Italian family. I'm a mid-child. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And my parents raised us insisting and investing a lot on our education. Went to the university and I got a university degree with honor in literature, in actually ancient history, Latin and Greek and Italian. And then I got my degree with honor, and then I felt absolutely in love with Dante Alighieri. Dante Alighieri is the father of Italian language. So then I felt absolutely in love, and I wanted to do research on him. And then I got a scholarship. Then I went there. I spent 1 year in Dublin, and to prepare to get my PhD, or to start my PhD, to start my academic life. But then after 1 year, where I was, very, very enthusiastic, my supervisor, which was a woman, by the way, and was the professor, the director of the Italian department at the Trinity College, she called me and she said, "Yes, Cristiana, I'm happy and proud of your article. I think it was very good, and definitely, you can do it, but I don't see you as someone who can spend and sitting all day in the library. I see you more for an active role, for an active job, for a more practical and proactive approach." Then I said, "God, what I'm gonna do?" And then when always in life, when someone is telling you something so direct that you don't want to hear, but then it's the moment and you start to think and rethink. And then I said, well, I think she's right. I have spent 1 year struggling all day with these footnotes, with the proof review, with bibliography. And then I then came back to her and I said, yes, I think you're right. And then she said, well, let's do something. I will help you to find your way maybe in anthropology, a cultural anthropology department. Then I decided, okay, I realized that this was my life, that this was my job, that I was happy in the international development. And then I took another master degree on international development, international cooperation, and international relations. And then I have applied for a junior professional officer. This is called entering career at the United Nations, and then I got a position in the International Labour Office. I spent a few years there, and then I have applied for a job at the European Institute of Public Administration. I was there in my 35, so to say. I applied for the job, and then I got the job at the agency, which is based in Maastricht in the Netherlands, as a program and project manager on EU policy. And then I realized again that I had to take another step in my education because I needed something more related, more specialized on public administration and European policy. Then after 5 years, there was a possibility to apply as a director of the Department of Capacity Development and Capacity Building. And then I have applied and I got a job. And basically I was then in a very leadership position and an executive position because I had to supervise and lead a program and project all over the world, basically, because we were used to work with the European Commission as a global organization. So it means delegation, it means agency all over the world. And approximately I had to manage and secure budget for my department. We're talking about 20 to 30 million euros per year. Then in September 2019, my husband has been appointed as Italian ambassador to Kuwait. And then I decided to change again life, to move to Kuwait and share with him this great opportunity. So this is a very short summary of my several lives.
So how was it working with the EU, with the United Nations on projects that large?
It's something that you need to really be specialized in it and to be competent. So you need to have competencies there, they're really needed. So the competition is very, very high. So the more you get into this international life, into these international jobs, the more you need to specialize yourself and to change and adapt yourself according to the job. So it's very challenging and very, happy of the opportunities. I'm very proud of myself, of what I have done. But to be honest, I really had to invest a lot of my time in preparing myself. So it was challenging and at the same time, very, very satisfied.
How was it working as a woman? Did you feel that you were given equal opportunities to your counter men? Working in teams with women. You mentioned before that you liked working with women.
I'm very happy that you asked this question. Now, both EU and UN, gender policy, gender issue, gender mainstreaming is a must for them, is a priority. When I'm talking about gender mainstream, for example, in EU, every single project, every single program that you do has to take into consideration this gender mainstreaming. So gender is an issue that has to be considered and implemented in every single project or program you do. I was involved in the EU funds, and there is a special target, a special inputs, a special indicators that you have to meet. Otherwise, you don't do your project. You don't do efficiently your project. I'm coming from a family, from a childhood where I never thought that a girl can't do something that a man can do. I actually realized that my gender could have been worked against me when I actually started to work. In every single application you do of the EU, the same, when you do the application at the bottom, it says a quote something like, female applicants are strongly encouraged to apply. I would say strong enough to understand why, but in a way it was disturbing me from the very beginning. Because it implies that I'm getting a job because I'm a woman, not because I'm qualified for the job. So I want to be hired because I want to be qualified for the job. I want to compete with men on absolutely the same level. Especially when I was growing in my career, I met several problems, and surprisingly, most of them came from women. Now that I'm almost 50 years old, thinking and realizing I can give some possible reasons, but I saw that was actually the reality, because we were basically within specific stereotypes, which they were there and they were working against us. The more I was growing in my career, and the less women friends I had within the working organization. Then I went also to try to see and understand why, and I saw that there are also literature about is the so-called power dead even rule. It means apparently, and this is subconscious, it's absolutely psychological subconscious, between women, in order to have a very healthy relation, we need to have the same level of power and the same level of self-esteem. If for one reason or another, this balance is interrupted because maybe I'm getting a higher position, instead of thinking that me getting a higher position has nothing to do with you, and that if you want to get the same position, you have to work on yourself. It's not that if I'm getting a higher position, I'm taking something from you. Instead of entering in this, women tend to start to establish a relationship which is completely unhealthy, because they start to then betreat you and to talking bad behind your back, but even more dangerous, to isolate it. So you really feel then isolated from a group of women. And this is something that I have really experienced in my working life. When a woman is reaching an executive level, starts to show and to act, or to pretend to act like a man. So to say, I want to hide my emotions because I want to be more like a man, having a more attitude and behavior like a man, like assertiveness, like confidence. There is a phrase which I heard 1,000 of times, like, I'm not like the other woman. Now, how offensive and discriminated is such a phrase? Because what do you mean? When you say I'm not like the other woman, what do you mean? What does it mean to be like the other woman? I'm a woman. I'm proud to be like another woman. Now it's more easy than when I was young, but I'm not afraid anymore about my emotions. Actually, I want to keep my emotion. I'm now learning, and I have learned step by step, and I'm learning every day to manage my emotion, to recognize my emotion, to welcome my emotions. My instinct is another part of our emotional intelligence we want to keep, separated from men. I'm starting to realize that my emotions and my instincts are actually powerful tools that they can be in my advantage, and I can work in my advantage. So what does it mean? That if I show a makeup, if I show nice dress, if I want to wear, nice bag, nice shoes, whatever, doesn't undermine for a minute my intellect, my value. My value will stay even if I like and I want to buy and I want to talk about the nice shoes. It doesn't this affect my profession, my qualification, my value.
If we can go back to those times where you were treated that way by these other women, and we gave you the option to change their behavior, what would have you wanted them to do?
With my mindset at the moment, I would act in a complete, probably different way. I wouldn't be so afraid. I would try to make them understand me better, to make them understand that together, if we are together, we can really be more powerful. And it's not because I'm wearing a certain kind of shoes. It means I'm not able to do my job, or I'm not qualified enough to do my job. But you need to be very, very strong. You need to know exactly who you are, where you want to go to face this. Because as I said, we are, surrounded by stereotypes. I married late because I married in my 40s. I can't remember the number of, and I don't have kids. I can't remember the number of times people asking me, but why you're not married? What's wrong with you? You can't have kids. I have something wrong. I don't have something wrong. The same, and my sister-in-law, they both are very good professionals, and they both have kids. But the same question on the other way. How do you manage with kids? Are you sure that you want to continue to working? Are you sure it's good for your kids? All of this kind of mindset, it will affect you daily, especially if you are not strong enough to make very clear to yourself first and to them that you know your life, and if someone pretends to know better my life than myself, is it doesn't work in this way.
So has that shaped how you continued in your career to go on to specialize in accountability mechanisms, ethical and equal opportunities issues, and then the social dialogue? Was that where you felt you needed to direct yourself because they started becoming more apparent to you that these are issues that need to be addressed?
Yes, this kind of specialization came to the point when I understood that all of this gender mainstreaming is not only related to the UN policy, UN panel conference, etc. But being a EU citizen and working for my country, in this kind, since in my career, we were working on the technical assistance of government to implement policy and legislation regarding, for example, the social dialogue, regarding the gender equality, regarding the accountability mechanism, anti-corruption mechanism. being part of the European Union, being as a union citizens, then you can really make the difference, because you can really work with your government and try to really implement something that can then help future generation, or even our current generation. Even if I have to be honest, because for example, now with the European Union we have reached a lot of results, because gender issue is in the legislation. Gender issue is, as we said before, in a mainstreaming in every policy, in every European funds. We are working a lot on these several strategies. The European Union, we are working as more strategy to advance women. Now there is, under the Commission von der Leyen, there is this new strategy, because unfortunately with the COVID, the problem raised even more. So now there is this new strategy for Europe 2020. But again, this is not enough. For example, and just to give you a small example, we reached the quota for gender equality, and I was working on this because was 2007, where we were working on the special strategy to reach by legislation that the entering on a workforce, by legislation, every single member state has to reach a percentage of quota for women entering the job. Now, even if you look at data, the entering percentage is higher. The percentage of women is higher than men. Even if looking at the data in most European countries, the percentage of women having a degree, a university degree, a specialized degree, is higher than men. When you confront the data of women in executive position, leadership position, managerial position, the situation is completely different. So you have a much lower women than men. When I'm saying executive position, I'm also thinking about professorships, sitting in the boards, in different boards, or any director general. So it means that quota is not enough. It's already absolutely something. It's by legislation. But again, we go back to the discussion of the working place and the connection as a women we have to make together to reach a certain level of responsibility.
After that, you took on a different role, a different life, as you said, but just as important, being an ambassador's wife, going into a different culture where you bring with you all that knowledge, and then maybe not being in a place that actually is as far ahead as where you were. How was that for you?
Thank you for this question. Thank you, because it really gives me the chance to tell you something. When I decided in September 2019, my husband has been appointed, and then I decided to move with him. And then I informed everybody from my colleagues, friends, family. And I mean, everybody from family to friends to colleagues. The first reaction was, are you sure? You are so independent. You spend all time in your career. Now what you're gonna do? You will be the wife of. How do you see yourself in being the wife of someone? My first reaction was, okay, you have no idea what diplomatic life is. But then I started really to think how our life is full of stereotypes and hidden bias. And thank you for giving me the possibility to explain finally, in Italy, like in every country, when you apply to be an ambassador, you need to be in the diplomatic service, you need to be a certain level, rank to be, but there is a process. It's not something that it just comes. It's a process. So you apply, at least in Italy, 6 months before, in advance, then you get your actual post. This decision has been made together. It's a family decision. It's not just my husband became ambassador and then decided, listen, take it or leave it, you come with me. We decide together to apply, so to say, together for the job. Because, and I really think that we shouldn't live only one life. If we have the chance, you can live more than one life, and I think I have proved. But when we have applied, it's because we really thought that this was an opportunity for our family. This was a challenge for our family and was a real opportunity for our family. Then he got the post, and I'm realizing here that actually to be the wife of the ambassador is a professional job. Even if it's not officially recognized, but it's a professional job, and a difficult one. First of all, because I had to understand I saw really, again, on my personal, on my daily basis, what the so-called reputational reach. So to say, I'm a very responsible person, and I used to be for my entire life responsible for what I was doing. The consequences of my actions, of my thought, of my, of what I do, what I don't do, good or bad, are on my shoulder. Now you realize that the consequences of what you do or what you don't, bad or good, are not only on your shoulders, but on the shoulders of somebody else, and in a bigger perspective on the country you represent. Yes. So you first have to understand. And then I realized it's true, I have to participate now with COVID, of course, not, but I have to participate to a lot of events, national party, or national days, or, also delegation. They're normally coming at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you have to, wear your beautiful smiling and be there with the minister, undersecretary of state, and dinner, lunch, charity board, etc. But in every single occasion, you, as I said, represent not only yourself, but your husband, and then your country.
You're representing a country, basically.
You're representing a country, and you need to be in a completely synchronized with the embassy and with the ambassador.
So now you have your role as an ambassador's wife. There are a lot of expectations from you, and having that background in cultural diversity, how did you merge into the local culture here?
Diplomacy is done within three major blocks. The first one is called gov to gov, it's government, so the political level. A second block is called B2B, business, it's related to private sector. The third block is called people to people. So it's diplomacy done with people. Now, when you represent a country, what you want to do is to represent your country, of course, at its best, but also create network and connection with the country that you host. I was very surprised when I first arrived to Kuwait to realize how connected we are. I'm learning things from Italy from a Kuwaitian, to be honest, because everybody is talking me about Italy, and a lot of Kuwaiti friends, they spend their holidays in Italy, so they know the country. And there is something, I think, that then in our role is to go more than simply knowing the country because you go there on vacation, but try to work and using this soft power of diplomacy, this people to people, in a way that you can really influence each other. In the diplomatic world, it's called the cross-fertilization approach, where you want to have two peers at the same level, discussing together, interact, exchange ideas, experience, brainstorming together, and then create something. So be able to have an added value on this discussion. Within the embassy, we have created a special place called Spazio Italia Kuwait, is Italia Kuwait space. What we want to have is to have this space to have Kuwaiti exhibitions and Italian exhibition, but also specific a kind of think tank space, a kind of lab, where we can organize brainstorming, which they don't have to be at, the diplomatic level, just people to people, peer to peer, talking, exchange ideas, and then really make the connection, the influence each other, the relation among the two countries. Now, in this part, as a wife of the ambassador, since I really believe that the empowerment of women starts from what we have to do, from our role, from our daily life, I started to include some activities entirely dedicated and related to women approach, to women approach. And we have now an activities related to the Italian design, basically to discuss why the Italian design is so famous all over the world. And within the Italian design, I mean everything related to design, including fashion. Within these activities, which is called Stili Italiani, Italian styles, I have inserted a special activity where stylists, women in fashion, women expert in fashion, they can talk to each other. This is, of course, a starting point. I need to implement more, and but it's something that I really, taking care a lot. As well as there is another activities which is called in Italian a caffè con l'ambasciatore, is a coffee with the ambassador, where the ambassador is interviewing, like we are not doing now, on the Instagram channel and the YouTube channel of the embassy, several experts on several fields. And thanks God, the ambassador, my husband, is listening what I'm suggesting, what I'm preparing, to dedicate a special session only for women, to make them, talk and to empower themselves, each other, on a peer basis.
So you're talking about empowerment. What is empowerment to you, Cristiana?
We have to really change our mindset when we talk about empowerment. We associated the word empowerment to big policy, big discussion, a big panel conferences, a program at the UN level, at the EU level, at development level. Well, this is not actually the only empowerment. Empowerment and empowerment women, it's something that is not related, it's not a woman issue only, is related also to men, doesn't exclude men, actually involve men, and has to be done in cooperation with men. But it's something that we first have to do it ourselves.
Coming from a European background, now you're living in Kuwait. When you first met with Kuwaiti women, do you feel that Kuwaiti women are empowered?
You know what I really loved in this country, and to be honest, I saw how within a family women are very connected to each other, very supported. This is something that I must say I have to appreciate. I met women in this country which are professors, which are in the board, which are directors. So I think that they are doing that process, but like in every country, still there is a lot to do. And it starts and it goes with the cooperation among women. So this is why what I have to appreciate is the supporting you get from the family. It seems to me that within a family, women are more supported.
On a day-to-day basis, what can we do as women to support each other?
As I said, first of all, understand that it's not a gender issue, it's not a woman issue. It has to involve men, especially because men and women can work perfectly in partnership. Then I think understand, and this really has to be, truly understood, that I don't need anybody to give me a role. I take the role I want. I'm giving myself the role, no matter what the others say. If we continue to expect somebody else giving us the role, then we will never be confident with our role. We will always be afraid that somebody else can take out from you your role. You give it yourself. That's, I think, the first, because I experience this. The very moment that I give myself my role, then I'm more confident and then I'm not afraid anymore. And start to trust more our emotions, start to trust more our instinct and other women. So start to understand that even in a meeting where I'm sitting around the table with a lot of men, if always it will be a younger and more beautiful women come to the room. And instead of being afraid, start or pretending in front of men that I'm different because I'm acting like a man, instead of entering in this kind of behavior and attitude, why don't try to trust and to make a real connection with this other lady and a partnership with this other lady, and to understand that in two we are more stronger than one, and then that if we are one against each other, we are not played on the same field of men, we are already behind them. Because if there is something that we should learn from men, is their attitude and their behavior on working in team. And show them, if we really want to show to them that we are different, is that we are against the stereotypes women can't work with other women. Because that's what men really believe. So if we prove And if we manage to work together and to understand that we are not one against each other, but then together we are more strong, then I can really make the difference. Because we are more strong.
Cristiana, thank you for being here today. I enjoyed this conversation very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm really enjoyed a lot. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to bridge the gap between myself and other Italian women through the initiatives of the Italian Embassy in Kuwait. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll see you soon. One on our questions.